welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, the mixed media artist behind all of this stuff, and this week is Exploring Layers number 5. And as you can see, I usually gather all my materials at the beginning, especially my stenciling, stamping right here, piece of cardboard, and of course, I'm still getting used to my new Stencil Girl stencils. My smaller palette knife, water-soluble graphite, two different kinds, and of course my catalyst wedges. One has a tooth and a texture, one doesn't. That is, again, the clay tool. It has a round end so it won't scratch or harm any surface and roll across smoothly. And of course my bucket of gesso, where I obviously overdid the amount. As you can see, I'm still used to, I get over enthusiastic with my materials, and this is the amount of gesso you would usually use on a canvas. I just used as much as I could, and I changed my approach. So as you can see, this week's, I've been reading my comments from you guys, and the tape, I believe in the end, does look better. And as I'm using the proper way to remove it now with my hairdryer, there isn't any issue. So I'm going for a neutral painting. I feel I need to explore the beautiful ways you can create neutral. And of course, starting with pencil. And in approaching this particular page, number 5, I had many starts in mind. And I don't know if this happens to you. Sometimes we feel we need to do too many techniques that we've been observing in other artists' work and go to try them. And I realize, no, this is not the start that I wanted to do. But in hindsight, you can still learn a lot from the effects, even if they end up being covered up, which this start does. I realized I want to explore the different ways of starting with text and images and print, and then covering it with different layers of opacity and transparency. So then I used my hairdryer, of course, and I realized, okay, don't overthink it. Just slap down the text, neutral text pages that I seem to have around, put them in different areas, and here I'm not thinking so much horizontal, I'm thinking quadrants. So having something a little different in each corner is a good thing. And I just switched to Mod Podge here just because, and it's a matte Mod Podge that you see in the upper right. It's just inexpensive. I think I still have just a little more than half a jug there. And of course, this text is made from a letter stencil using my jelly plate printer. And I knew I would end up using it so you can see, so it'll stand out. So you need to start with a high contrast. And next, I might just use black ink. Maybe use my own writing. Just shapes and lines and patterns of lines. And of course, let them thoroughly dry. And depending on the type of ink you might use, make sure it's permanent, because acrylic and the water, and it might blur. So always use a protective medium layer, and that can add more interest when you add other layers. So then on the left, as you can see, I just gathered a bunch of text that I printed with my jelly plate printer, from textbooks, from scrapbooking supplies, that beautiful handcrafted paper. And here's this one. I couldn't tear it up. I know it just didn't suit this. This is if you find old children's books and their pages, they're amazing. This is a very old, so I just put it, put it to the side for now. And just really interesting graphic designs in magazines. I'm still having trouble where I am, just because of the situation that we're in. I don't get out to stores and my bookstore anymore. Finding some good magazines with large black text and words and letters that I can cut out. But I know there's a way that you can make your own, just with copy paper, I'm sure. And then you can decide to leave it white or stain it with tea or coffee to give it that old look. So I might be needing to make a batch of those. So keep that in mind. So as you can see, I'm just tearing it, making sure it's in different sizes, different directions, so that in my head, I'm also, not attaching any meaning to the type of text going down. I can get a little complicated that way. And I'm trying to learn not to, just to let it go. Just start. And I really like how this piece, I've got my planet of Saturn there, that ends up getting covered. And I'm so glad it did, because it just needed to. And I'm learning to let go more and more. And I hope you do too, because it doesn't hinder or block you in your flow of a particular page. And that's, getting used to and using our intuition more, not doing too much thinking. The gesso that I dried there with the hairdryer turned out pretty good. It created a texture. And right here I'm deciding, do I want to keep that little section or not? And looking at this now and the piece when it finished, I think either or. See, there's a big empty hole, it seemed. And I didn't like all of the space on the left. And I like that they're upside down and they're just, and it's different. So the upper right quadrant is different from the left quadrant. The lower left quadrant is different. And the bottom right one ends up being very different, as you'll see. So stay to the end, and then you'll see just better how I create each layer. So then I used my hairdryer because it really needed to dry thoroughly. And now I'm going to use my wedge, remembering in my those previous mixed media videos that I made, the one with the red. I should put a link right here. I think I will. It's not up on the screen or in the upper corner here, but I will leave a link to that one in the descriptions below. And I'm really loving how it's just veiling the text, just setting it back, a little bit deeper. So I'm still too close to my one particular image there. So I remember thinking, it's like, I've just, it's standing out too much. Should I let it stay there? Should I cover it? So I had to dry that layer again. And then I'm just activating the surface here with my pencil and just keeping the flow going until something else comes in. And I know those lines will show through in some area. I just really am in love with graphite and pencil and drawing marks. So I needed some black. So right away I'm going, okay, let's go for some high contrast in the 4 different quadrants in just different shapes. So I'm just putting it in. No specific shape really, just organic. And that's the thing too. This is a really good practice for getting used to creating different shapes that you like, that resonate with you. And I have a long way to go. And there's there's my numbers, and I know I need to do more. I was selling some work that people really liked with 432. Numbers have a lot of meaning. So the number 1 does end up going there, and of course my trusty dots. I just love these things. And decided to, okay, so the size of that one was a little large, and it's right there. Just cover it, slap it down, and right away the work improves with that blue literal image gone. So I know in my heart that I'm moving more to conceptual, other than text, print, the odd image and collage. I really want to leave it open. So I'm using the 3 circles here, trying to find a spot. No, it's just not working. And then with the batch that I made earlier this is tracing paper. Tracing paper that you would use in school. And it's a little delicate, but I love its transparency. And this is just a dripped piece of orange that I drizzled on because I knew the paper would be too delicate to handle a brush, and I really, really love this. So, have to make more, and make notes on the side. Even around, since this is a journal, this is for us, this is for you. It doesn't have to be all neat and tidy. And on the corresponding page on the left, you might want to write down those notes. Maybe you want to put them somewhere where you're going to see them. That's just my dog in the background. His name's Dexter. So this is this is rolled on newsprint here, this piece, with my brayer. It could be leftover paint or a whole bunch of papers that I just wanted to use. And I really love that I put it on an angle this time. And it astounds me how when you go, and I don't know if you can relate to this, you go and you look at other people's work and you go, wow, I really love that. And then when you go and do it, it's just, it has to be coming from you. And over time, when you learn a new process, a new technique, I believe it does. But it's just not an overnight, because it has to be true. It has to be authentic to you. So here's my trusty cardboard. I just love these lines. And I know I want to set that orange back without hiding it. And I just love perfect. And of course, yeah, as you can see. So that lower right-hand quadrant now is very different, but yet balancing the upper left one. And always remembering white on black, black on white, and that, the way they relate in a piece is so cool. So this one doesn't look good far away, and it looks good right there because it's just a subtle difference. It's a pretty thick piece of, I don't know what kind of paper this was. It's very thick. And that's just tempera paint. No, not tempera paint. Just that craft paint. And I love all the colors on this piece here. Oh, I have to make more. So do I want it to go across the whole bottom? No, because this isn't a horizontal abstract landscape approach. This is just thinking in quadrants here. Okay, so some more of this transparent or translucent tissue paper. And then I realized, nope, 2 circles is too much. And as you move it around, perfect. And why there? Because it's another layer on top of those letters, pushes them back, but you can still see them underneath. So now you've got the letters, the gesso, and now the paper on top. So you've got 3 different layers really appearing here. And I'm finding the complexity And the interest really improves when the eye can sense or see those different layers going on. So you're thinking the big conversation in your work, which is from far away, and up close, what's the small conversation? What's really happening? And I don't know if you can see, but the upper right, where the letters A, B are on their sides, I really love how that pencil is going over them. And now this is the golden, that real translucent, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's the real expensive color, nickel azo gold. And I just needed a stripe, just needed something vertical to counteract all of those horizontal lines. And I'm just pushing back those dots a bit and warming that up because the upper left quadrant has that warmer neutral rather than pure white. So as you can see, you saw me grab that circle, which I've used a lot in the other ones, the of earth and sky, and I thought, no, I have to do something different just to get out of that pattern of creating. And this is this handcrafted paper. It's like a dark gray. And when you tear it, the fibers are really, really stand out on the side. It doesn't tear easily. So you can show some of the fibers. You can trim it with the scissors, which I end up doing, I believe. I'm still pondering on where it might need to go. So I decide to put it up on a higher plane than the long horizontal piece. And it does reside there very well. Okay, so we're coming to the end, and if you are liking this content, please subscribe, join the journey, even create along with me, or get inspired and start your own abstract art journal. It is so fun. That was your China marker, again, the wax, and then I just put a few dots and a few more lines on top, and just altering the shape where there's too much black going down into those areas. So, and I realized I didn't use my gray yet, so I thought, I'll just put some gray on there. And then, of course, using that clay tool, which I really like. Yes, I think that really added. So, still getting used to some of the tools that I use on canvas on my journal. Why? Because I'm also using this particular journal to practice any layering that I might want to try on a larger canvas. So we'll see. So that will guide me. And of course, a splash of black dots. And then I'm drying it one more time. And of course, remembering to use the hair dryer on the tape. And this is the big reveal right now. Yes. And I don't have any issues this time. So I hope you enjoyed exploring layers number 5. And I'm going to continue to use neutral pages as we go in the next couple of weeks. Well, at least that time the tape teared, not the paper. So this is a slightly heavier mixed media sketch pad, Canson, and I will leave that information in the description. And this is all acrylic paint and the tools that you can see. And I hope you enjoyed this one. Yes, I'm showing you now I love how that orange, it might show red here, but it's really orange. And all those layers that you can see, the subtle differences. So I'm beginning to really like my layering process, and I hope you do as well. So, all the best, and I'll see you in the next video.